Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Hence back with another video, and in today's video we're going to be going over how you're going to be allocating your ability points onto all the different cards on your team. So before we get started here, I just want to give a shout out to Zreals on my Discord for giving me the idea to post this video. I know I've been getting asked this question a lot in my Discord and on my Twitch, so I'm going to be making that video today. Now, I have four Team of the Years, along with, a few players on my second line and second D pairing that, maybe require some AP. And this video is just going to kind of be going over exactly what you should be doing, depending on how many Team of the Years you have. And I'll be going over the must-have abilities on each Team of the Year. That way you guys know exactly what you can put on. And if you have less Team of the Years than me, then, you can kind of put on more. And I'll give you kind of the priority list of how you should be allocating your AP. So if we hop over to AP here, on my team, you can see that MacKinnon actually has the most on my team, and that is because I think that the MacKinnon card here is the one that actually requires the most for him to be, as good as he can be. Now, I think on MacKinnon, the two absolute must-have abilities are Unstoppable Force and Elite Edges. I think MacKinnon more so than the other ones needs elite edges, MacKinnon and Matthews specifically, because their agility is a little bit lower than McDavid and Makar's. So you do really notice that elite edges on them, and it is a very good ability to have on them. Now, I also have no contest in close quarters on my MacKinnon. I've been testing out no contest a little bit. I still need to play a few more games with it, but it's definitely a very good ability, especially for its cost. And then close quarters is one of my favorite abilities in the game, and it's absolutely automatic when you're in close to the net. So I think that if you can, close quarters is the third one on the priority list for MacKinnon. And if you can get it activated, it would be very, very beneficial for you because it is a very good ability. Now, you may notice I don't have wheels on MacKinnon, and that's because I don't think you need wheels. These are the fastest cards in the game, with or without the puck. Wheels, basically what it does is it reduces the speed decrease that you have when you're holding the puck. So for example, usually when you don't have wheels on, your player has -3 speed when they're holding the puck. So in MacKinnon's case, I think he has 97 speed with synergies, so he would have 94 speed with the puck. If I activated wheels, it would give silver wheels would give him a +1 on his speed, so he would get 95 speed. And then gold wheels would give him no decrease at all, so he would be at his full 97 speed. But for the ability points that it is, I don't think it's worth it because 95 speed already is one of the fastest players in the game. And so you don't really need wheels on these cards. And even if you did have wheels on MacKinnon and he got to 96 speed, Makar's base speed is still faster, so Makar would be able to catch him no matter what. So I don't think 5 AP on wheels is worth it. Second, we've got Matthews here. As you can see, again, I have no contest on him. Now, I'm testing out no contest right now, and I'm not sure if I will recommend it or not yet, but it is definitely like the fourth one on Matthews' priority list, with the first two being elite edges and unstoppable force. Now, I think Matthews also needs elite edges because his agility is a little bit lower, and unstoppable force on all these cards I think is a necessity because it is, in my opinion, the most influential ability in the game outside of elite edges. So I do think unstoppable force is a must-have on Matthews. And on your center, I would say close quarters is even more beneficial because of that, I guess the no sleeves play, I guess he kind of made it up, where you pass it back to your defenseman, you pass it to so you pass it back to your right defenseman, you pass it over to your left defenseman, your center curls are on the top of the circle, you can hit your center, and then if you shoot your low blocker side shot with close quarters, it almost always goes in. So I think close quarters, unstoppable force, and elite edges are must-have on Matthews. Now, where you can go differently from me is you can either activate no contest or quick draw. But the thing that I noticed is that with quick draw, especially on Matthews, he still loses to Jay Beagle without gold quick draw. So if you come up against somebody and they have Jay Beagle on their first line without gold quick draw, and you got Matthews on your first line with silver quick draw, you'll still lose the backhand straight back face off to Jay Beagle, which is why I don't think Matthews with silver quick draw is necessarily worth it to have, because he's still going to lose those faceoffs anyway, and you just have to figure out how to do the counters to, maximize it to your best ability. So, on Matthews, I would definitely recommend activating at least elite edges and unstoppable force. Third on his priority list would be close quarters, and then no contest. I think I would put at fourth. However, it is not needed. You can allocate those ability points elsewhere. I'm just using it for now to test it out. Cale Makar, again, unstoppable force, like I've been saying before, is an absolute necessity for all these Team of the Years. The reason why I think it's even more important on Makar than on Matthews and McDavid is because Makar is your defenseman, And if you like to cycle the puck a lot and you pass it back to your defenseman, you don't want Makar getting bumped off super lightly, because that's one problem with Makar. He's a little bit smaller, is he could get knocked off the puck pretty easily. So if Makar gets bumped off the puck without unstoppable force, that's a turnover at your blue line, which leads to pretty much a guaranteed breakaway for your opponent. So that's why I like having unstoppable force on, just as an extra layer of protection so that he doesn't get bumped off at the blue line. And then I also have shutdown on him just because he's a little bit weaker in his own zone, and having that shutdown ability on him will help him out a lot. Now, I do want to try out Seeing Eye and maybe Heat Seeker on Makar, and I think that would be a good combination for him, because from what I've heard with Yossi, it's really good on Yossi to have those abilities activated. I don't have Yossi personally, but I'll go over him right now. Is what I would say is to activate Stick Him Up on Yossi 100%. And then if you have more ability points able to be activated, I would activate Seeing Eye first, and then Heat Seeker or 1T on him. But the only one I think is an absolute necessity on Yossi is Stick Him Up, and then maybe Unstoppable Force on him too. The reason why I don't have elite edges on Makar is actually because he's got 99 agility. I tested it on him and McDavid with and without elite edges, and honestly, I have not noticed the slightest bit of difference. They're both extremely agile with and without elite edges, so I don't necessarily think elite edges is absolutely necessary on these cards. It's very expensive. But if you have the AP for it, I would say it's not a bad ability to put on. It's one of the best abilities in the game, in fact. But for 8 AP, when they already have 99 agility, I just don't think I can cough up, that amount of AP in this game right now, especially with all of the Team of the Years having expensive zone abilities. So Makar, I would say Unstoppable Force and Shutdown are absolute necessities on him. Next, after that, I would maybe try Seeing Eye, or if you have the AP, Elite Edges. Now, Connor McDavid with Elite Edges, don't get me wrong, unbelievable card. Without Elite Edges, guess what? Still an unbelievable card. All I have activated on my McDavid is Unstoppable Force in close quarters. Now, if you really wanted to, you could take off close quarters and maybe put on wheels, or put on an ability on one of the other cards. Maybe Silver Quick Draw on Matthews, or Seeing Eye on Makar. But I just think close quarters is so valuable at this point in the year that if you don't have it on, you're at such a significant disadvantage that you kind of need to have it activated. It's almost as important as something like Unstoppable Force. Now, again, wheels, like I said, somebody with 99 speed doesn't really need wheels. But if you want to activate it, it's not the worst ability in the world by any means. It's just kind of expensive for what you get. I think when EA rebalances the abilities, I think that they should make wheels 8 AP for gold and 4 AP for silver, just to balance it out a little bit more. I think at 6 it would be too broken, but at 10 it's just not quite worth it for most people. And the other thing I will say is that McDavid's Team of the Year is 100% better than his X Factor. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, gold wheels is so good, this and that. I promise you, McDavid without gold wheels is just as good, and Elite Edges is even better than gold wheels for the points. And then he also has Unstoppable Force in close quarters on this card, which far surpasses what his X Factor can give you. So I do think that McDavid's Team of the Year is far better than his X Factor. So if you do have his X Factor, I would recommend upgrading it. And that's all my AP, actually. All my AP is allocated to these top 4 cards. Now, I did have Truculence on Dobson instead of No Contest on Matthews, but I don't feel like Dobson needs it now. Dobson is not as good of a card as you would think he is. He's a little bit underwhelming for his overall, but don't get me wrong, he's still a great card, but he doesn't really need Truculence. That's the one good thing about Dobson, is he's big enough to knock people off the puck without Truculence. He's just a little bit slow, and he turns a little bit slow, like when he's got the puck. Sometimes he gives bad passes. So I would say, outside of the top 4 here, if you have AP left over, I would look at allocating it onto your defensemen before you allocate it onto your forwards. So things like Stick 'em Up, things like Shutdown, look at things like Truculence on some of your defensemen instead of putting it on your forwards. I think that defensive abilities are far more advantageous than offensive abilities, especially going deeper than your first line. So yeah, maybe your goalie abilities too. Now Shesterkin, this is the problem that I have with Shesterkin, is if you have all 6 Team of the Years, you're not going to have any AP left over for Shesterkin. So if you do want to throw an ability point on your goalie, right now I'm using Jake Ottinger. Obviously I'm not going to use Dialed In, but if you have something like Sponge or Butterfly Effect on your goalie, then maybe I would look at allocating your AP to that instead of maybe No Contest on Matthews or or I don't know, no contest on MacKinnon maybe, or close quarters on one of them. So yeah, that's what I would recommend to you guys. If that answers your, I hope that answers your questions. If you have any questions of should I do this ability or this ability, drop them down in the comment section below, or you can join my Discord or follow my Twitch to talk to me live, because that is probably the best way to get in contact with me. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye guys.